listening to the Metal Command Podcast.
Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Metal Command Podcast. Tony here with you, and today I'm here to comment on Trial by Fire, newest Judas Priest song that they just put out yesterday. And of course, this is the second song they have put out for the upcoming album Invincible Shield, which comes out in 2024. I'm going to give you my thoughts, and I'm also going to give some added thoughts on where I think this album is headed. Now, before I get into that, if you do like what you see and hear in this channel, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button. Hit that little bell to be notified anytime I do post a video. And, of course, I'm curious as to what all of you think of the album Invincible Shield. And, of course, don't forget to follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/themetalcommand. And you can interact with the show there as well. So let's get into it a little bit. I had a chance to listen to this song for the better part of a day. And, you know, I listened to it probably 20 or 30 times now over the last 24 hours. And, you know, because I really like to get a feel for whether I like this song or not. Do I like it better than Panic Attack? I actually went back and listened to Panic Attack a few times to kind of get some perspective on it. Overall, looking at people's reactions, the reaction to Trial by Fire is that a lot of people like this song better than Panic Attack. In fact, I've had more of a positive response on the Facebook page and, of course, a more positive response in general that I've seen on various threads on social media and even on YouTube, where people like this song a lot better. And somebody on my Facebook page actually brought this up, and I thought it was interesting. It sounds similar to something you'd hear off of the Elegant Weapons album that Richie Faulkner, that other album Richie Faulkner did with Ronnie Monroe and a few other musicians out there. And it does kind of have that same feel and that same kind of groove to the track that some of those songs had. In all honesty, I thought that was a great reference. Other people have reacted and said it sounds like a leftover song from the Firepower album, but since Rob is singing on it, it sounds great. I've seen people think that they just overall like the feel to this song a lot better than Panic Attack. You know, the biggest criticism of Panic Attack were people talking about how it sounded like Rush's Tom Sawyer towards like the middle of the song. And yeah, I definitely heard that. I still like that song quite a bit, but I'll be honest with you, I like Trial by Fire better than the previous single they had put out. That's just for my own preferences. I think it's got a great groove to it. It's very catchy. I like the guitar solos a lot better. I just like the song. Overall, I like the song a lot better than the previous single, which, of course, I liked as well. Now, as far as where do I think this album is going to go? And again, my opinion is this. It's going to be a lot like Firepower, but a little bit better. I don't think they're really going to change their formula of songwriting for this album. You know, like when you go back and look at the Priest discography, I think there's only been one instance, in my opinion, where they have made two albums that are similar. That would be Screaming for Vengeance and Defenders of the Faith. I've always said that Screaming for Vengeance was very good, and Defenders of the Faith is very similar, but a little more polished. And I think that's where we are headed with Invincible Shield. I think that is going to be very similar to Firepower, from the standpoint that it's probably going to be a little more polished as far as the songs go. It's going to sound pretty much almost the same as far as the production goes. But I really feel Priest found themselves again when they brought Tom Allen back in for the last album, along with Andy Sneap, obviously mixing for them. And it stands to reason too, when you go and I've mentioned this several times in other podcasts about various bands, even probably about Priest, when you start working with somebody, and let's say, for example, the Firepower album, how great that sounded. It stands to reason that you are going to improve upon that quite a bit, especially with Andy Sneap being a touring member of the band, playing guitars live, obviously instead of Glenn. But I think that this Priest album, this upcoming one, I think is going to be very good. I think it's going to be a little bit of an improvement on Firepower. Again, I thought Firepower was good. I thought the production was excellent. But the songwriting in Firepower was a huge improvement over the previous record, before the previous two records, actually. In fact, I would probably say Firepower is probably their best album since Painkiller, to be quite honest. So I think that this next upcoming album, Invincible Shield, is going to be an improvement. I think the songs are going to be a little better. I think the production is, it's Andy Sneap. It's not really going to be probably any better or any worse. I think it's going to be pretty consistent. But now that they've had this team together for a while, I think that they are going to improve quite a bit. On this next release. That's my gut feeling. Now, obviously, like many of you, I have not heard the rest of this album, so we don't know. We won't know until they start putting out more singles and they actually put the record out itself. But overall, I think it's going to be an improvement. I think the album is going to be a little bit better than Firepower was, and it's one of those records where I think if you're a Priest fan, you really you won't be able to go wrong with it. I gave Firepower, I think, like an 8 out of 10. I think this album might be there, maybe a little bit better. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this newest song, to be honest. And I really have high hopes and pretty high expectations that this next album that Judas Priest is going to be putting out in 2024 is going to be very good. So if you're a Judas Priest fan, you won't be disappointed, and I believe fully that, I went and pre-ordered it already. That's just me, and I'm sure I'll hear the audio, get the promo for it at some point to be able to review it, maybe right before it comes out. But overall, I'm pretty excited for the next Judas Priest album. I think it's going to be very good. And give me your thoughts, folks. What do you think? Do you like this song, Trial by Fire? Do you think this next Judas Priest album is going to be better than Firepower? Or do you think it's going to be the same? Or by listening to these two singles, do you think it's maybe not going to be as good? I'm curious as to what all of you think. Leave your thoughts in the comments. And with that said, thanks for watching. Stay metal.